Romans chapter 1 is the first chapter of the Epistle to the Romans in the New Testament of the Christian Bible. It is authored by Paul the Apostle, but written by an amanuensis, Tertius, while Paul was in Corinth, in winter of AD 57-58. Paul wrote to the Roman Christians in order to give them a substantial resume of his theology. Text. The original text is written in Greek. Some of the most ancient manuscripts containing this chapter are Papyrus 40, Papyrus 10, Codex Vaticanus, Codex Sinaiticus, Codex Alexandrinus, Codex Ephraemi Scriptus. This chapter is divided into 32 verses. Several scholars believe verses 18 to 32 are a non-Pauline interpolation. Structure. This chapter can be grouped. Romans chapter 1 verses 1 to 7 equals greeting. Romans chapter 1 verses 8 to 15 equals desire to visit Rome. Romans chapter 1 verses 16 to 17 equals the just live by faith. Romans chapter 1 verses 18 to 32 equals God's wrath on unrighteousness. Verse 16, New Revised Standard Version. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who has faith, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. Verse 17, King James Version. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. Citation from Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4, the just shall live by faith. The Septuagint has delta iota kappa alpha iota omicron sigma kappa pi iota sigma tau epsilon omega sigma mu omicron upsilon zeta eta sigma epsilon tau alpha iota. The phrase comprising the last three Hebrew words of Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4 is cited in Greek 3 times in the New Testament, all in Pauline epistles. Romans chapter 1 verse 17, Galatians chapter 3 verse 11, and Hebrews chapter 10 verse 38, demonstrating its importance to the early church, asserted Dockery. Moody Smith, Jr., showed that in this verse, by exegesis of Galatians chapter 3 verse 11, Paul took the ekpisios with the verb zesetai, not by the subject of the sentence, hodikaios. This is supported by Qumran interpretation of the text, as well as Paul's contemporaries and more recent commentators, such as Lightfoot. Verses 19 to 20. New Revised Standard Version. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. Ever since the creation of the world, his eternal power and divine nature, invisible though they are, have been understood and seen through the things he has made, so they are without excuse. This is one of the important statements in the Bible for the concept of natural revelation, that other than revealing himself in Christ and in the Scriptures, God reveals himself to everyone through nature and history, and all human beings have the capacity to receive such revelation because they continue to bear the divine image. Verse 26. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even the women that changed the natural use into that which is against nature, gave them up is from the Greek word paradidomi. Hand over refers to more than a passive withholding of divine grace on God's part, but as God's reaction to the people who, turning from the truth of God and his moral requirements to their own gods and sinful ways. Verse 27, New American Bible Revised Edition. And the males likewise gave up natural relations with females and burned with lust for one another. Males did shameful things with males and thus received in their own persons the due penalty for the perversity. The due, which was meet or was fitting, equivalent to was due, which is better, though the word expresses a necessity in the nature of the case, that which must needs be as the consequence of violating the divine law, penalty or recompense. Greek concordance and lexicon define this word as a reward, recompense, retribution, remunerating, a reward given in compensation, a requital, recompense, in a bad sense.